Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Madmen with a Box live for our review of The Church on Ruby Road, the Christmas special. But before we get into that, let's meet the co-host that's always here, the one that's here more than me. It's OZChris.
I'm always here. I got nothing better to do. Oh no, we've lost Landry. Oh no.
He's not always here, but he'll come back. He always comes back.
All right, Pixel, end the stream. We have to restart.
Oh no.
The always coming back does that to you? Just restart from scratch because of that? Really? Yep. No, I don't think so. If you look down below, it is Joe Corallo.
It's true, I'm here.
Yes, you are. And on his side,
I don't know what's happening here.
As long as you're here, it doesn't matter.
On his side, in his car, it is Landry Q. Walker.
Yeah.
Hello.
Landry is regenerating into Jimmy. I think it's the other way around. Jimmy regenerated into
It seems like a degeneration.
Wait, which way? I'm trying to decide how hurt I have to be.
Well, if you look to your right, you'll be looking up at Pixel, so...
Wow. Okay. That's everybody. I said other Doctor Who news. There's no news.
No.
Other than Doctor Who's coming back May 2024. That's news. Yay.
Was it confirmed May? That it said spring, which could be March, April, May.
It said spring in that, but I'm pretty sure Twitter said May.
Okay.
It didn't give a date. It just said the month of May. I was strolling through the park one day in the very merry month of May.
Oh.
But Christmas specials are back, and I'm so excited to talk about it. But we should start with, I guess, Chris. We'll start at the side. We'll go around.
With me, my thoughts on the church on Ruby Road. I enjoyed it. It's fun. It's nice to have Christmas specials back. I just have a fun time. Ncuti is amazing. First full episode of him as the Doctor. Still charismatic as hell. I'm loving his dynamic with Ruby Sunday. I love how commanding he is. I just love everything about Ncuti as the Doctor. Ruby, I'm liking Ruby. I'm liking how she is with the Doctor, how they interact, how they're back and forth. Although I feel like maybe I need a bit more time with her to see how I fully flesh out my thoughts about Ruby. The goblins, they're fine. I feel like the goblins are the weakest aspect of this special because they're very simple. They're just very simple villains, but just there to progress the plot. So they're not really like best villains ever for Doctor Who. But no, I enjoyed quite a bit with this episode. Other kind of cons or negatives is that this is becoming very apparent with Russell. I think he stumbles when he comes to endings. Because I feel like just he just pulls down the ship with the Mavity. That was a nice callback. The Mavity gravity.
I was about to say, what's this? What are these gravity gloves? Mavity is.
I'm using the Mavity gloves.
Yeah,
I understand the Mavity of the situation.
So the Doctor deciding to just pull. I think it's clever to use because it is at least that those gloves were brought into the episode to pull the ship down, pierces it and the Goblin King, but then it just randomly disintegrates. And then I don't know what the Doctor's entire planning was with that. It just this just needed to happen so that the day is saved, Ruby is saved, all of that. Because it's Russell he's been very hand wavy. I think it's because we've been getting consistent Russell episodes, so it's a bit more like apparent that is very hand wavy to a lot of his endings. I think Wild Blue Yonder is the only one where he's not that hand wavy, but the others, yes. But aside from that, I think it was a fun episode. It's not the best Christmas special ever, but it's a fun episode, and I'm liking what we're seeing of our new TARDIS team.
Joe of the Corrallos.
Sure. Hi, Joe here. So yeah, to build on what you were saying, I really liked this episode. I didn't love it, but I really liked it. It's, to play off of what you said, it's not the worst Christmas special. I'd have to rack my brain to figure out what the worst one is, but that's not in the spirit of Christmas, so I'm not going to do that. There was a lot to like. It was a very positive episode. I think there was a lot of elements of it that were uplifting and happy. It had a very nice message about the importance of adoption, foster care, things like that. All of that very good. And I don't want to take away from that or spoil any of that in terms of poo-pooing on the whole thing. Now I'll get to that part where I say that. It was a very Russell T Davies episode in
Yes.
both the positives and the negatives. I didn't like I think this episode, to make it really good, needed another pass on the script, because so much of it needed Ruby to be the dumbest person alive until she suddenly wasn't an idiot towards the end of the episode. There were just things where I'm like, how are you this stupid? And then she's like, wait a minute, doctor, hold the phone. What's going on here at the end? I was like, what is this? This is so stupid. So that, her kind of, I thought there was maybe going to be a little more to it, why she was just so blasé going along with everything. But whatever. And then it hits her at the end. I thought that was stupid. I'm not the biggest fan of how Russell does these things with these, just throwing in these different mundane devices. I get the appeal. I get the idea of a childlike imagination and being like, ooh, these 3D glasses can see through the void and see the spooky stuff, or these magical gloves and that stuff. I was just like, that's fine. And the death of the Goblin King and all that, that was probably the weakest part of it for me, was because normally the Doctor doesn't brutally murder people. Because that was one.
I feel like I don't think he really planned on killing the Goblin King, just a way to stop the ship from leaving. I think it's just fitting into the theme that was in this episode, coincidence. I think it was just coincidental that it also pierced the Goblin King.
But it's one of those things where it's I get the coincidence, but they didn't really play off that. The Doctor never really knew, so I don't know why they did. He didn't have a chance to feel bad about it because he didn't know it happened, and then they were like, or did the goblins ever exist? Who knows? Fuck it, let's go. And that to me was very why did we even do it that way? Instead of that, why didn't you just have the ship get pierced and it get dissolved or something like why did we have to watch the Goblin King get brutally murdered?
We didn't. We
didn't. That.
Considering, the ship and all the goblins disappear anyway.
So I'm going to touch upon that. I did want to go ahead and address some of the chat though.
Yeah.
I have to agree a little bit with Jess Buck. I wouldn't call Ruby stupid. She's not. I don't feel she's dumb. She just she didn't catch on that he was the time traveler. She never
I'm not
the TARDIS, but
I'm not saying I'm not saying she is dumb. Like I'm saying, like they needed another pass on the script because the script, like what was happening, what she was saying, and the thing. It's like I know she's not supposed to be stupid, but it's that thing that happens in fiction where you see that a lot. Like, sorry,
she's Joe Grant. They Joe Granted her. Like Joe Grant was brought in specifically because John Pertwee was concerned that Carol Ann Ford, the previous who was it? Not Carol Ann Ford. Who was the previous companion?
Liz Shaw, right?
Liz Shaw
the actress's name.
was the actress. Okay, so Liz Shaw, Joe Grant. Pertwee didn't like that Liz Shaw looked smart next to him, and they wanted somebody who came off. Oh my God, what? Huh? That's amazing to make the Doctor look smarter, to make his ideas look more brilliant, to make his actions seem more bombastic and genius. And so they played her a little bit Joe Grantish, which is a little bit of like, what? Oh my God. And in a modern sense, and honestly back in the 70s too, it ends up coming off a little more. Doesn't seem that long ago that we had Rory going in the TARDIS going, no, it all seems pretty obvious. That would be a paradox. I can figure that out. Like, I'm up on sci-fi, you know? So, yeah, she comes off a little bit like you probably should have a better sense of what's going on, but it feels like an intentional way to make the Doctor look smarter rather than her look stupid.
Yeah, so like I think it needed like a little more fine tuning there, but before they shot that. But you know, and then I also hate the stuff with this flood or whatever. That was just it was stupid after the fact because I was kind of like, oh, this is just stupid fourth wall breaking nonsense, which is fine. And then you had Russell T Davies have to come out and be like, oh, there's going to be more to her story. And it's like,
wow.
This is why we don't need a conversation about Mrs. Flood, though, because this is Russell T Davies. This is where I've been saying for weeks when we've been doing this. I want to see Russell T Davies take a new approach. But this is just Bad Wolf, Saxon, all over again. It's just another, here's your mystery of the season. And it's not even subtle this time. Bad Wolf, we didn't see it coming. That's one of the reasons it worked so well. Saxon was it slipped in under the radar. This is just, and the most brilliant thing they could do is she's nobody, and it goes nowhere at this point.
Yeah, because
I love that.
This is another problem I have with, starting with the 60th is that Russell has already put in so many plot threads for this new season. You have the boss, who could also be the one who waits. So that's one or two different like mystery boxes. There's we have like Ruby's mother. We have whoever picked up the Master's Tooth, which could also be one of the first two. Now we have Mrs. Flood. So we have possibly 5 like hanging threads.
Yeah.
And the season actually hasn't even started. This is the Christmas special.
It could all come together brilliantly. The proof is in the ending. Yeah. We don't know. But right now, as a viewer, I feel overwhelmed and honestly blasé at the same time. Like, okay, it's a lot. I get it. You're throwing a bunch of things, but rather than just let this story be a strong character builder. I mean, when Rose met the Doctor, she was played similarly. She was Joe Granted as well. I mean, she comes off like, what's going on? Worked beautifully because the Doctor for the audience in 2006 or whatever was this mysterious figure we didn't really know anything about. And Rose was us, and it worked very well. Ruby doesn't work as well because we don't feel the Doctor is as mysterious. And, we didn't need the plot hangers. We didn't need to know, by the way, Bad Wolf wouldn't have meant anything in the first episode with Rose. Now we're all like, oh, it's the seed. It's who's Mrs. Flood? I don't care who Mrs. Flood is. I don't. I might later, but right now I don't need that. It's a distraction.
I don't think it's something that's going to be even close to answered probably not even this coming season. I think it was just something to throw in at the end, like, because clearly she plays like this old woman in a wheelchair. She's not really moving around. She looks like, oh well, yes, and she pushes Ruby along. But then, as soon as the TARDIS is gone, she stands up. She's ready to go. Oh yeah. But
oh no, she wasn't in a wheelchair. She was talking about running marathons and stuff before
Yeah,
in the
she's
episode.
walking.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
she wasn't. Yeah, she even made a whole point about like, I ran a marathon. I'm fit.
Yeah.
So that wasn't.
I thought she was in a wheelchair.
No.
No, she was sitting outside. Yeah, but what I'm hoping doesn't happen is that it turns out that she's Ruby in the future, and that it was also future Ruby that left baby Ruby at the church, and it's all a Ruby paradox, and that it ends up like, for the love of God, don't fucking do that. But
I don't think Mrs. Flood is a future Ruby. I don't think so.
no, I don't.
I think
so,
the
but
only
I
one
don't
that's
want that.
going to be the thing is that Ruby is the one that leaves herself.
Oh, I assumed. So.
Yeah. That was so, like, it's just one of those things where it's like, you think we're that fucking stupid? That's like, I'm at that point with so many of these Russell T Davies tropes. Like, it's just like, I'm not that stupid. Come on, like.
I also think there was something else that I wanted to talk about. Oh, yes, because just Buck went ahead and brought up. So are the goblins not magic? The Doctor is very clear it's not magic. It's its own form of logic, its own physics with language and coincidence. The ropes are their wires. Look, before I get into that, Landry, if you had any more thoughts, go ahead.
Yeah. I have several. I didn't love the episode. I thought for the 15th Doctor's first outing, it was okay. I generally liked him. Generally, I want to see what kind of gravitas he can bring to the role, because we haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen a Eccleston meeting the Doctors again for the first time moment, or Dave Tennant facing his mortality moment, or anything like that. We haven't seen that. We can see he can do fun and weird and whimsy and all of that, but can he do? Now, having seen the actor and other things, I do believe he can do it as an actor, but will it all gel in this show? I want to see more of him before I weigh in. Ruby, I already kind of get she's there. Honestly, I just feel like Ruby is there. I don't really care about Ruby one way or the other, maybe the way I should. I felt the episode had real pacing problems. Like they're building the momentum. Like they're in the house and they're building up the momentum at one point. And I don't remember the details, but the Doctor and Ruby are kind of like, oh my God, run around. What about the baby? Oh my God, the baby. And then suddenly they're like, oh, let's have a talk about the refrigerator and all the pictures and how beautiful. It's like, stop. No, now's not the time. Crisis. And you're building your story. It should go like this, not, woo, oh, hold on. Okay. Like, while it is a nice character building moment and it does seed something for the plot, so it serves both character and plot, which is nice. At the same time, it came in the middle of a tense moment and it completely de-escalated the tension. That's not good. Like, you don't want to do that. It lost me, and I'm sitting there watching this with a big 18-foot Doctor Who scarf on. If you lose me, you're losing a lot of other people. So the energy was off. I did find interesting. Am I the only one who thought that there was a weird thing going on with the number 3?
I didn't catch the number 3 like you.
Okay, the 3, there's many references to the number 3, and maybe it's a coincidence thing, but there's the 3. It's the third day before Sunday at one point. It is the third Sunday of December. It is the 3 women living in the building. It is the they've got the 3 stars decorated in the apartment, as I recall. there's a reference to them being something, the three women in the building, something about that. I don't remember what the exact reference was. There's a call out. This was an interesting one. I saw this one online. I can't say that I understood it myself, but there was a call out to the band. Play, do you know such and such? And the singer's like, what? And the song it's a Latin song that, if what I read is correct, refers to the third Sunday in December. So again, with the third thing, and of course,
33
three orphans.
33.
Maybe.
So
Yeah, she had the 33 orphans at one point. Yeah.
33
people
orphans.
watching this
Foster.
channel
No.
right now.
What's that?
3 people watching this channel right now.
So there did seem to be a bit of a repetition with the number 3, which may be nothing. Which I found more interesting though than the Mrs. Flood thing, which is there winking at you. But then it could just be a little bit of clever writing of coincidence in where this entire episode is powered by coincidence. If so, I'll give them a big thumbs up for the sly bit of weaving the coincidence magic in. I also have to preface that I hate musicals. I hate musicals so much, unless they are a part of the story, because I hate the idea that people just randomly break into song and dance and know the lyrics of the song and it all works out perfectly. If the Doctor, instead of learning the language of rope, had been learning the language of goblins specifically, and they speak in rhyme and in verse and all of this stuff, and so the goblins naturally sing, and then the Doctor, having been figuring out their language, breaks into it, that would have worked for me, because the Doctor simply would have been adapting to their language. It would have been very clever. But then Ruby did it too. And like, how can you just break into song?
See, at least with Ruby, you could see her try to, like,
how do you?
Yeah, how do I diddly deed you? Like, trying to make sure that the song rhymes.
Yeah.
So at least with her,
she had to work harder at it, but still.
But she's also a musician, so I mean,
that's a lot to drop down right in the middle of, while surrounded by goblins you didn't know existed, trying to save a life of, and you can think of lyrics on the fly.
That's part of what I was saying with the writing. Like she comes off stupid in scenes where she needs to be stupid, and then really clever in scenes where she needs to be and it's a bit of a whiplash through the story where she's like, oh, well, I'll just rise to the occasion here and be fine. And like,
Yeah, I could accept that the goblins. Oh, by the way, the goblins eat every 3 days. The baby will feed them for 3 days. That was another one.
3, yeah.
So the musical number, it could have worked for me if it was just natural to the goblins. Fine. They're an interesting not magical, but magical to us race. Sing-song goblins is kind of a fairy tale thing that works very well. That would all work great. The Doctor being able to jump in and speak their language could have worked for me, because the Doctor is the Doctor. Ruby, now it's not something in universe. Now it's something out of universe. Now it's just your run-of-the-mill, we wanted to do a musical number.
To be fair, it does look like there's a lot of music in this upcoming season. Like, there's a lot to do with music. The Beatles.
One episode, which is
the Beatles, and then the ball.
Which is fine.
Yeah, but that's them having a ball. I wouldn't really say that. Oh, that has so much to do with like music. It's like that's just music. Just happens to be at a ball. Whereas like the Beatles is like very.
Okay, and it starts with a band. It doesn't. There's a band on the ship. Ruby's in a band. There's at least one episode to do with the Beatles.
You can have a band, but when you drop into a goblin ship, not knowing any of this stuff existed ever before, and you can just, boom, lay down a track like that, that's a musical number. That doesn't work for me. That's like when, no. Again, if the Doctor and the goblins alone had did it, and it was part of their own language, I could accept that, but it was too weird.
To be fair,
I did preface this saying I hate musicals.
Did we ever hear the goblins speak other than in the song? To the beat? Through it? Because that's where I think most of these problems arise. I brought up earlier a comment talking about the goblins. Are they magic, or they have their own physics with coincidence and all that, and they feed off of that. That's how they go ahead, and they are drawn into moments. They make mistakes, so that way it sits with a person and it messes up their day, but it fuels them. The Goblin King is the one who eats, and the rest of the goblins feed off of the king. It's like an energy.
Yeah.
So I think it's these little beats that are missing, because I love the goblins. I
I think they're
love the
interesting.
concept. Time goblins that ride the waves of the time stream. That sounds awesome. Then the Goblin King basically being the mother, the queen mother, and all of them are just feeding off of the king because he's the only one that's eating. He has a conveyor belt. They get food for him so that that way they can feast. I love just the idea of that is sitting in my mind, and it gets me thinking about stories and stuff. I really loved this episode, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it better than Rose. I know somebody said that Rose was a better opening, but all I can think of is pizza every time. And it doesn't sit right with me.
See, I like this episode, but I can't agree with that.
No, can you kick him off?
I can't. He controls this.
I never cared for Rose, but that's another topic.
We should do that one. We should talk about that one.
I really enjoyed so many elements of this episode. I think Ncuti has such great energy. I disagreed with you about not sure if he can, and you said because you see him in other things, you're sure he can. But he has very serious moments in this episode. Like
serious moments, but none of that heavy gravitas yet that I've seen. Like I would say some sad moments more than anything, but where is that almost that power behind it? Where is that, like, what we saw with Eccleston, we saw it with Smith, we saw it with all the doctors so far, except I never saw it with 13. Not the same way. And I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying I want to see him do it. I want to see how it comes out with him. I believe in the actor. I believe, even if I end up thinking he's a terrible doctor and doesn't bring what I want to see with the doctor, I'm never going to think this actor's bad. I've seen him do amazing work before. So I do believe he has the capacity. It's whether or not he's given the tools to do it, the writing, the directing, all that.
So I think that there's multiple levels to look upon this episode. I think that this is, though the musical number is very campy. It is very campy. People are saying that, and some people are like, "Oh, this is why I can't watch Doctor Who." People, no, that's just stupid. I think this is.
If you can't watch Doctor Who because of camp, don't watch classic Who.
I think
don't watch any Who. Like,
yeah, don't watch any of it. Like,
it's camp is an inherent part.
I think that this episode is going to be a very good. I think it's a very good jumping on point. I think that it's so fresh compared to, like, we just left the 60th, and you're not really carrying that weight going into this episode. My biggest complaint is really that it's a Christmas special, and the Christmas elements are like the slightest thing. It's my birthday. It's Christmas. It's Ruby's birthday special. It's not a Christmas special. But
someone pointed out online that this happens like the same week that Dave Tennant regenerates as from the first time. That somewhere he's walking his walk to the TARDIS, and
it's the week before. Yeah.
When he talks to Rose and said, "You're going to have a great year," and then he goes regenerate. Yeah. I mean, that's when she was left at the doorstep, because we're old now. No.
I was old then. It's easy for me.
I enjoyed so much about it. I think that there are problems that I'm getting the novelization specifically because I think that it's going to handle explaining those sorts of things better. Why the goblins just seem to disappear with the ship. I I don't think the Doctor planned on impaling the Goblin King. Really did just want to get it stuck there so he could follow. But I would have had a problem if that was his intent. If his intent was, oh, the Goblin King is stationed there, stab, that would have been problematic.
It didn't seem like that.
It didn't. It seemed more like a happy accident, a coincidence.
Well, I didn't like some of the. There's a certain thing Russell T Davies does, which is a simple solution to a complicated problem, like throwing a ball off a roof, defeating one of the most powerful beings in the universe. Or I just happen to have these really great gloves that, by the way, were at 3% at one point, specifically. And pulling it down, it's like it was a simple solution to a complicated problem, which can work. But again, I want to see Russell T Davies bring some new energy, and so far this doesn't feel substantially different to what he did in 2006. I want to see. I'd rather he was trying something that was all thematically very different than what we're getting.
I hope we get a trend of, oh well, let me be on the fly and invent something real quick, rather than, oh, I have these ready. Because I love the Doctor being inventive and like just clever little thing, do. But yeah, no, I can see that. At the same time, it's so good to have good Doctor Who back.
It was, listen, I mean, I was still there watching it with my Doctor Who scarf on. It made Christmas. I love watching Doctor Who on Christmas. I'm looking forward to every episode. I am always going to nitpick, which is odd because I'm a believer that let the story just be the story and go along for the ride. And I'm always going to do that. This was a lot of fun. It was very well made. The performers all did a very good job. Would I like to see it different? I mean, I accepted a long time ago, decades ago, that Doctor Who isn't always going to be for me. It doesn't mean I can't always appreciate it for what it is. And I do appreciate this. I'm not sure if this Doctor Who is going to be for me or not yet, but it doesn't mean it isn't good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I was missing in the comments that we took a while to get to. No, I brought up the Are we hoping Mavity is going to go away soon?
I love Mavity.
You don't want to
keep it. It's a nice. It's a nice.
Go back. Re-release any of the Target novelizations that have the word gravity with Mavity in it. I'd buy those. I want the all Mavity editions.
Mavity cut.
Edit old episodes wherever gravity is mentioned and have it be Mavity. Now I'm there for it. This is totally off topic, but still Doctor Who. But so I'm watching this episode and I realized there were some toys that I missed because I collect all the 5-inch action figures and have since the beginning of the line in 2006. And I had missed the Time Lord set. And it's from the Deadly Assassin. And I should love these. It's Barusa. It's the Doctor in his Time Lord gear. And it's one of the other Time Lords from episode. And these are terrible figures. The sculpt, the paint, and you just look at these at some point. These are, I saw this. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm spending $80. Let's do this. Let me take a closer look. I'm actually going to pass. And that's so unusual for me with these. So just a little Doctor Who aside. Like they need to start.
Yeah,
I really hope we get good figures with this new line.
Yeah. Also, I think it's because a lot of people just thinking, do we need another fourth Doctor figure? We have so many.
But in his Time Lord gear, such a great opportunity. Oh,
that's nice.
For Christmas, I just realized I didn't show it. Got this for Christmas. It's nice.
It's very nice.
Record that's been cut into for a clock.
Was it an actual record?
I have no idea.
Like
I don't think
disc
so.
or something?
I think it's like a default disc. It's not a real.
Oh, it's really nice.
But no, it is very nice. I have it hanging up that I can just look at it. Since we're going off topic anyway.
Merchandise. Well, this is an interesting thing that we're going to get to see. Will we see a revitalization of the merchandise? I mean, obviously, the new Sonic is really geared towards a toy for kids, and I love that. I don't love the non-Sonic-y screwdriver shape of it, but I get the idea behind it, and I'm still going to buy the toy if it comes out. So whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll see some action figures, but you know, we go about like 2008. There was a windfall, and every time I'd go to Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, they'd have a booth with exclusives, and it was exciting, and they had all this brilliant merchandise. Seeing the Chrome Sonic at San Diego Comic-Con was super exciting. And have you seen the matte? Apparently the matte finish one is impossible to get. It got shorted. There was a production problem, so now like a lot of the pre-orders got canceled.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I now don't take my word for that, but I heard something. So seeing the merchandise, are we going? I hope we see going along with this a real push to really advertise it, merchandise it, make this a part of the culture again, because they managed to make it such a part of the landscape of nerd culture. I want to see it reclaim that spot.
Yeah, it used to be like you'd see images of toy stores that would just have a Doctor Who section.
Yeah,
because there was just a lot of merchandise.
Yeah,
and then that just over the years it dwindled, and it just became like, here's this collector's set, here's the screwdriver. Like,
on the topic of the screwdriver, yes, it does look like it's very, very geared towards being a toy.
Yeah, I still don't like the design.
I don't like the design. However, in the episode itself, it didn't bother me as much. Like it being used, I wasn't even thinking about it. What bothers me is they kept the same sound. Each Sonic should have its own sound. It's distinctive.
I think that it's a departure, and it feels more like a Star Trek, a colorful version of a Star Trek gadget than it feels like a Doctor Who, because the Doctor is basically a space wizard, and that is his space magic wand. And this does not feel like it. It feels like a very Star Trekian device. You know, so again, I'm interested to see what they do with it. While I like it better design-wise than Whittaker's, I appreciated the in-universe explanation that she just hodgepodged it together, you know, out of bits. Was a really nice touch for why it looked so crappy. Yeah. But it made sense.
And I do appreciate that this one wasn't just used for everything.
Yeah, it doesn't work on rope.
It still doesn't work on wood. Nice little tidbit. It went ping because it registered that police officer's engagement ring. It's just like wasn't even being actively used. It was just like it just randomly pinged. Which for those who don't know, that entire scene with the snowman and the police officer, Disney asked for that to be put in. Apparently,
because they wanted to see the Doctor in action sooner. They felt
sooner than later.
They wanted more Doctor in Doctor Who. I know, crazy.
Weird.
It's a weird choice for them, but I actually kind of like the scene. It's nice. It's a nice scene. Very, very 8 of him, just being like, yep, she's going to say yes, okay, because she loves you and you got this engagement ring, so do it. Just do it. I know it's going to work for you. Go and ask her to marry you.
Weird touch that you take Ruby out of the equation and those two women just turn nasty. Like, they lost all joy.
I think, yeah. Well, I mean, I think that was one of the strongest scenes, though. It's like when Ncuti's like, "Don't say that."
The performance in all of it was very powerful, but it was also like, give me a little more why Ruby brought such joy to this household, why they kept her rather than moved her on, why Like, we didn't get any of that. Why was she so
Yeah.
important to this family in this house? And we don't really see that. And instead they tell us. And that's not always the best writing. You just tell us something. Show us.
How do you show that for?
You got a time traveler. Skip them through the ages. See Ruby grow up.
Yeah.
We've done it before.
I feel
Yeah.
like
We've done it before in Christmas specials on Doctor Who.
that's still. This isn't a Christmas Carol.
But
Thing
still,
could happen.
we've done it before.
I know. I feel like that would have. I don't know. So part of me feels like that would have added bloat, like more than that. Like I understood.
Then get rid of the musical number.
The musical number is the fun.
It's fun, but it's not. You need more character than you need more singing. More character development. Tell us again. Don't tell us that Ruby is important to this family. Show us why she's important to this family.
They do. I will say they do at least give us some. It's just not enough. I do like that Russell paralleling the Doctor and Ruby. They're both foundlings. And
There was I saw that come up as a plot point. I was like, oh, we're not letting it go. Dang.
At least it's being. I think that as much as I don't like the Timeless Child. I think we can all agree that it just was an idea that wasn't properly executed, and it was just given up. I think that's also one of the worst parts. Is just like you're going to throw this spanner in, and then just give up on it.
They tied it up with a neat bow with the toy maker saying, "I went back and I played and I meddled with your past." So the explanation was there. It was all the toy maker's games. The toy maker modified the Doctor's reality that hadn't been the Doctor's reality until the toy maker got a hold of it. So it honestly kind of solved it in that point. Once the toy maker was defeated, theoretically, you could basically go, well, the Doctor's past realigned itself to what it was supposed to have been, and that didn't happen. Yay! Also, the Doctor's not half human. Well, they didn't feel need to continue that one on from the 90s, so they could let this one go too.
Yeah, I feel like at least as kind of, how would I say this? At least delving into how the Doctor feels about this, because with 13 it was very inconsistent. It's like I'm not going to let this define me, but I am going to let this define me. No, I was right the first time. I'm not going to let it define me. Actually, no, this does define me. It's just,
and then
you gave it to a Doctor that was very inconsistent with her personality. So I feel at least it just deal with the slight ramifications, how they're going to deal with it. I think after this there should be no more. I think just setting up as a comparison to get for this TARDIS duo to start, I think it's fine. I feel like there should be nothing else done with it after this.
I think
so.
I think we also have to remember, like, Russell's biggest thing with Doctor Who is found family. That's like his main thing, and it continues on through other aspects, through other Doctors. It's in other Doctors, but for Russell, family that you make is very important to him. I feel.
I think it's very important to our culture. It's a very important thing, and it should. I don't mind them leaning on it. It's just not that particular bit. It doesn't work.
He didn't like the Doctor's already. Just he doesn't need that aspect of it to make that work. Like, it wasn't something that Russell added to those already. It's odd to feel like he needs to be a foundling to reinforce that, especially with just like a one-off line that could have easily just been not there. It wasn't really even that. It was odd and unnecessary, and it wasn't something that then Ruby showed interest in and like was talking to him about or anything. It was just kind of.
It's mainly her foster mom.
Yeah. And also it's like it just kind of makes him sound, self-important It's like, this doesn't help anything. Like, it's not like it feels a bit wedged in there. It's not like it was like, oh wow, that's really great. Tell me more about you while I'm worried about these. Like, it's like, why is he even fucking saying this? Like, it's odd.
I think it works with the emotional beats. It just doesn't fit with anything else with the story. I think that's the kind of the problem. It's like, okay, it's working with like themes and emotion, but with the actual, it's not being addressed in the story directly, or at least directly by the right people.
It needed another pass. The script absolutely needed another pass, and I think one more pass,
which wouldn't have happened because Russell's in charge. He looked at his own script and was like, "Yep."
But he desperately needed another pass on this. Like,
I mean,
we gave it to Moffat apparently. Moffat looked through it. And Moffat was okay with it, but even then, they're friends.
Yeah.
So.
He can't, like, Moffat wouldn't have gotten where he was without him.
Send it to me.
Let me see it.
Oh, I want a job as a script doctor. I really do. I think you do that.
I am the script doctor.
I've ghost written. I can script doctor. Yeah.
I feel like. I think.
Oh, be quiet.
I think the main problem is that we have just had Russell written episodes consecutively. Unlike with the series, he'll write the main ones. He'll write the starter and then any like important ones as well. The starter and the finales are the main ones he'll do. But we've had like 4 consecutive episodes of just Russell, so we haven't seen anything different.
I don't know if we can call the first special just Russell since it's such a close adaptation.
Oh yeah, so
okay,
partially Russell with the first one, but mainly it's been him for these last 4 4 specials. So
the human body is not designed to take in this much Russell T Davies consecutively,
unless you're Jimmy.
Jimmy's not here anymore.
He's in the chat.
He's in the chat.
He's saying,
and I
Moffat wants a job. That's why. Like, I don't think Moffat needs a job. Like,
it's not even need, but the idea that someone who wrote some of the best episodes of Doctor Who, period, like, oh, he needs a job. What are you talking about? He could say, I have an idea, and RTD would probably be like, oh, thank you. Come on. Go ahead.
Oh, actually, looking at series 1, Russell wrote like 2/3 of that series. Rose, End of the World, Aliens of London, World War III, The Long Game, Boomtown, Bad Wolf, Parting of the Ways.
Yeah, no, he made great contributions that first season, like introducing fart jokes to Doctor Who.
He did. Wow.
I don't like most of his episodes. I didn't care for most of his episodes. Blink.
4, 5, 6.
That's Moffat.
That's Moffat, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was bouncing back to Moffat. Russell T Davies. Sorry, we were talking about Russell. Yeah, I'm tired. It's been a long week.
9, 6, 7, 8.
How's everyone's holidays going?
It's fun,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with Jess. Jess is saying we are too familiar with this playbook. That's why we're having problems with it. We know what he can do. We know he can be a good writer. It's just something different.
There's a saying: when you recognize yourself writing in patterns, writing certain tricks and things that you go to, do them different. And that's why I've been saying for the last several weeks on this podcast, Russell T Davies needs to come in and do something different. And it's not that it isn't good. It's just that it's the same. And that's not what we need right now. We need Russell T Davies to do what he did in 2006, which is revitalize, reinvent, not take us backwards to 2006. As good as 2006 was, it's 2023 now. Give us 2023's Doctor Who. That'd be like in 2006 going back to Peter Davison era, year-wise.
I don't know. I still feel like this felt like a really, like, a good start to me. Like, it felt
It's
fresh
an easy.
enough.
It's an easy start.
It's
It's
an
a
easy
fresh.
start.
It's a fresh, easy start. Despite Disney labeling this special 4 when it's
that was
technically they're right, but they're also not.
that's I guess they just don't have the season page ready for Doctor Who yet because they're not releasing till May. It should have just been written as Xmas special.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and I think Mavity is a much better joke than a fart joke.
Yes, I agree.
Mavity is a good joke.
Mavity is fun. Mavity is nice, light, and fun. I think the musical number. You're right. It is a little. It is a bit pushed in there when the Doctor goes ahead and starts doing it, but at the same time, using that as a distraction, it feels.
I could have accepted that. It was when Ruby comes in and does it is when it breaks for me. Like, because the Doctor is a special being. The Doctor might be able to jump in and speak the language of goblins, and Ruby should have been sitting there going, "How did you just do that? I'm a musician and I can't just jump into song. It doesn't work like that." It's like, the rules are different here. Try it. And then maybe he does something, and then suddenly she's able to do it. Just like the TARDIS getting in her head and speaking a different language, I could accept that. I just want it. I want it to be for a reason. Like when you see, I think DC, one of the DC shows did this, where the maestro or whatever came in and made it so that everyone was singing magically. They could not help themselves. That works because there's an in-universe explanation why everyone is suddenly singing. But when people just break into song, that makes no sense.
Look at her lines. Nice to meet you. Nice to greet you. Nice how to diddly deet you. And then she tells the goblins to go to hell and rhymes it with her new adopted sister's name. It's not much. It's simplistic.
That seems. I mean, I don't know. That seems like a lot to me. After dropping into a goblin airship on a conveyor belt while a giant monster is about to eat a baby, and you're like doing anything other than grabbing that baby and running. That's inhuman levels there.
But that's touching upon. I feel like I didn't again touching upon Ruby being Joe Granted. I didn't feel that. Like she was adjusting. She was going after the baby. She was freaking out, but she was pushing through. Like I don't know. I don't feel like she was like, oh, what's this? What's this?
She has that whole scene at the end, though, where she's like, wait a minute, I just figured out all these things we all fucking knew the whole episode. Like,
well, she does say that, I think someone pointed out earlier that, like, a lot has just been going on, and very much like with the whole point of, like, 14, she just didn't have any time to just sit back and just absorb everything that's been going on. Like, I can kind of, but even then, that's still Russell hand wavy.
She met this guy at a club. The guy pops up again when something fantastical is happening, and he's helping her basically adjust to the moment, explaining little things, but not, well, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3.
It's not that she's stupid. It's and I think in part the fact it's her lack of incredulousness with a lot of it.
Yeah.
Look at Donna Noble when she first shows up in the TARDIS and she's ready to start punching the Doctor. And everything is like, this is insane. With Ruby, she just kind of like just goes along with all of it, kind of passively, and then suddenly has this big epiphany at the end. It's like, where was your shock before? Where was your this is insane, this can't be happening moment? Like, I didn't feel anything from her really with that. Just like, okay, let's go do this goblin thing then. Okay. Like, this passive.
Also, Jimmy brings up something interesting. He said RTD said that the Christmas special would be totally different and newer than we've ever seen in Doctor Who, and it's just back to basics, not new at all. The thing is,
once Jimmy said something smart.
Wow.
The thing is, a big problem I've been having with Russell, especially with these specials, is that maybe sometimes he just doesn't need to open his mouth.
Yeah.
oh, Mrs. Flood has like, well, there's a bit more to Mrs. Flood. It's just like, did we need to know that? You didn't need to tell us. Oh, here's the importance of Rose's dead name. We don't need that, Russell. No one thinks it's that important. Oh,
But
here's my headcanon when it comes to bi-generation. We don't need that, Russell.
The thing is, I think, like in the little clip that I showed, things are going to get spoiled. We're going to be talking about spoilers on the main page as soon as the episode is finished airing, because we have to. And that's, like Landry says, that's media now for the most part. So
I do think he has to do these things. I think he has to do these things. I think it's expected of him to do these things. He might even have a contractual obligation to do these things. Is it helping the show? For me, no. It's not. It's setting expectations up that are impossible to meet. It's also taking away some of the excitement and thrill of certain things. But I also think that that is our world. I'm not going to blame Davies for that.
Yeah, I think it touches a lot upon that, but it's also a complete 180 from Chibnall, who would tell us nothing. Whether that's better or not, I don't know. Quirks. In Jimmy, he had to learn the language of rope. He had to figure that out in the moment.
I think musical numbers should have been the language of Goblin, and then it all would have made sense until Ruby starts singing.
Maybe it is, and that's why I'm getting the novelization, because I think it's going to explain that. Because
you should have explained it in the episode.
I know it should.
That's not a good story if supplementary material has to explain it afterwards. That's why stuff like novel, as much as I love the novels and Big Finish and all that, it needs to be properly explained in the story itself. Yeah, it can be expanded upon, and it should be, but as it should be, but it needs to be properly explained. That's always been my big belief, that expanded material should not be necessary. I should not have to do homework to understand something that should have been in that story. Yeah. Agreed.
I agree. But I still think the episode was still fun enough that it was easy.
I agree with that. I still had fun with the episode. It's just there's very apparent parts of the episode where there's a lack of explanation. Yeah. Why does the goblin ship and all of the goblins disappear? Is it because they're all connected to the Goblin King? Well, they don't really expand. They don't expand upon that. They don't really flesh that out. Yeah. Was this the Doctor's entire plan for it to disintegrate, or was that just a coincidence?
And the Doctor said he had never encountered the goblins before and was only learning about them for the first time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I would say, for me, summary wise, it was fun. It has potential. Let's see where it goes from here.
Yeah. I think this is it's an easy, simple, like, here is our team. Here's the Doctor, here's Ruby. But we need their actual full season to see how they actually are. Yeah, I've been wondering about develop.
What Jimmy's saying. I've been wondering about that. Is this going to be like the theme is like folklore, not fairy, not magic, not fables,
moral stories in the end. Yeah.
Well,
I guess that's a big thing they set up with the specials, is that superstition. I casted a superstition at the edge of the universe, and that allowed the toy maker in. So that just I think that's an interesting idea. Like, myths are now becoming reality. If they weren't real and were just like hidden as myth, but they're now becoming like an actual thing in reality because of that one instant. That's an interesting idea. I've never met goblins before, and like, here they are.
Robots.
Goblins are real
too.
I don't know, not right. Please don't remind me of Robots of Sherwood.
But you don't want to think about the Doctor and a spoon?
Look,
I don't want to think about that episode.
It's such a fun episode.
I every 12th Doctor is great. Every 12th Doctor episode is perfect.
Yeah, no, that's
It's not. I lied.
I'm guessing we should go into ratings.
Start us
Yeah,
out.
sure.
I'll start us off. I will give this a nice solid 7. I enjoyed it. I'm liking Ncuti. I'm liking Ruby. I just need more time for them to be fleshed out a bit. I need to see more adventures, different situations they're going to be put into. It is lacking in a lot of parts. I am getting kind of frustrated with how Russell ends stuff and how much he's adding into this series. Like, we don't need this many plot threads going into a new series, which is being marketed as a soft reboot.
Yeah.
It being called season 1, but no, we have all these plot threads from the anniversaries, and then from now from with the Christmas special. Although it's with this TARDIS team, so I can kind of give it a pass there. But no, I still had fun with it. I enjoyed this episode. So yeah, 7 out of 10. It's Christmas. I'm not looking for like the best episode in existence. I need something to have fun. That is supposed to be a fun, jolly time. Christmas.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm with
Joe, on to you.
Yeah. So I more or less agree. I'm at a weird spot. I'm probably gonna. This is a bit of a cop out, but I don't know if you do halves, but I'm like, I think I have to give it like a 6.5. 6.5, because 7 for me just seems a little too high, but a 6 feels too harsh. So I'm going with a 6.5 on this, with the potential, like, depending on what happens with, Mrs. Flood and some other things, maybe looking back, this could be a 7, or maybe it's a disaster, and it'll be a 6 or a 5 even. But no, I'm gonna go 6.5. I liked it more than I didn't, but the stuff I didn't like that irked me, like, kept building up as the story went on. I didn't like, a bunch of things. If there weren't, like, I feel like the half point was lost in the last few minutes between, like, how Ruby suddenly had an epiphany, how we brutally murdered the guy, like, all that stuff, like, left kind of a bad taste in my mouth right at the end of the episode. Like, but yeah, I overall fine 6.5.
Okay. Landry of the Walkers.
6.5. I'm going with the 6.5. I thought it had some pacing issues. I think that they didn't build the tension properly. They, opted to tell us things rather than show us things. Tell us why Ruby was important to this family rather than show us. Yes, they show us what it'd be like if she wasn't there, but why? Why? What is it that she did that made it work so great? That they're so nasty without her. Not just that she wasn't there. Why? The musical number I'm actually not really counting that, because otherwise I'd be down at like a 4. So the pacing issues, and primarily I didn't get any tension between the 15th Doctor and Ruby. I didn't get that, like, there's no conflict between them that's interesting. I mean, with Rose and the 9th Doctor, there's initially apprehension and distrust, but still she's kind of seduced into this world, and then she questions that, and there's a lot of tension between them there. Then with Donna, it's just constant tension between. I mean, that was wonderful. As examples, with Ruby, and it's early days. With Ruby, she just kind of passively goes along with these amazing things happening without us really feeling like she's caught up in the wonder of it. And also, she falls into trusting the Doctor super easy. So we're not getting any of the tension from any of the different directions. So until I get that, it's 6.5 is the best I can go. And if they don't bring that in later, my rating will retroactively drop a lot. If they do deliver it, just like the second episode with Rose on the End of the Earth one, between her and 9th Doctor, really elevated them. I need that moment. I need that moment of like, what am I doing? Who are you?
Yeah.
Like, if we don't get that, that really, and it has to really be strong, then I'm going to feel like 6.5 is a high rating for this episode.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm going to go 7 too. I think it's a solid episode of Who. Yeah, I mean, it's pilot number 2 for New Who.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. If I had seen this as a kid, I would have enjoyed this more.
Sure.
That's how it feels. The other one just felt, Rose always felt off to me. It didn't hit me. I couldn't appreciate season 1 until I started with season 3.
How old were you when you saw Rose?
How old was I when I saw Rose? Maybe 10.
That's
Fuck
a rough
you.
age to jump in.
Fuck you.
Sorry. I saw. Wait. I saw it pretty late. Like I was late to the game.
Oh, pretty late. Okay.
See, I never saw Rose first. I saw End of the World first.
Great opening.
Yeah.
I was
I had seen it when I was a boy.
pushing 40 when I saw Rose.
Again, I
35.
didn't see it in 2005 when it came out.
I didn't
So-
either.
You're not-
I thought
you're
it was
not helping.
2007.
But
Um,
no,
Go ahead.
I actually I like torrented it like when it came out through like the BBC and watched it before it even like came out here. I was really into it. So it was fun. I was working for this guy Ken Deep who runs the LIHU convention. He's pretty big in the like US Who convention scene, and he was my boss at Hollywood Video, and I was like torrenting like and getting burning them on discs, and like it's funny. I still remember like meeting him at like the Hollywood Video parking lot to like get him the discs for.
Oddly enough, I got the first episodes also from a guy who ran a convention. The guy who ran the he now runs the Power Morphicon convention.
Okay.
Scott,
Yeah.
This guy Scott, and he hooked me up with those episodes on VCD. So
Nice.
I'm right there with you.
Now, and one thing I can't believe I didn't get to this earlier, and something we didn't touch on. One thing that makes me wish this episode was better was the episode is built around this idea of if Ruby's not there, the lives of like her mother and her grandmother, all that stuff are horrible, and they turn into the worst people imaginable. So what does she do? She abandons them without telling them what she's doing? After we spend the whole episode being like, when she's not in their lives, they're awful, and they're the only family they have to each other. And then she's just like, what if I leave you without saying a word?
So, I mean, to be fair, the TARDIS hadn't taken off yet. She stepped inside because she was intrigued.
Come on.
Still no. But that whole point about, I not only just heard about families like that, I've heard about families close towards my families that feel like those people. Like, well, they need to pick up a little bit of money. Oh, the government.
Oh no, I've known people. I've known those families.
Yeah,
It's a real thing.
absolutely.
And so are the people who take in children because they love children. Both are very real.
Yeah.
So,
but like, how hard would it have been to like, and Doctor Who and New Who, they have done this plenty of times before, where Ruby's like conflicted. She's like, no, I'm going to stay with Mom, and then she's like, no, you go out in the world. And like, how hard would it have been to have a quick scene like that?
Yeah, I agree.
Like, not hard
her
at
mom
all.
doesn't understand what's going on. Her mom was Joe Grant.
Now it's a 5.5. You talked me into it, Joe.
I'm still think it's a solid 7. I think
it's a 6.5.
Yeah, but no, it's just those little things where, again, it's just like one more pass on this script, a little fine tuning, and I think it would have been a really solid episode. But there's just so many little examples of, like, you couldn't have spent 2 seconds to do this or that, or and it frustrates it.
Is Jimmy still out there? Is he still watching?
he hasn't
Who
talked in a
knows?
while.
Maybe.
Because I want to know his number. I want to know his rating.
I thought he said a 7.
Did he?
Yeah, he said 7.
Oh, I missed it. Okay.
He said 7 out of 10.
Yeah, which is it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
So one thing I will add, because this is a big thing with Ncuti's doctor, that he's going to be wearing different outfits, wearing variations. I wish we actually got to see, because it's been a staple since Tenet, the costume reveal. Getting the costume.
Yeah.
And as much as I've been a fan of Ncuti having different outfits, I really like that. I really like that he's going to, wear different outfits, even outfits for different occasions. Like, as we see with the one with Jonathan Groff, he's wearing a era-appropriate outfit. Like, I like that. I don't like that he wore so many different ones this episode. For his first episode, he wears at least 4 different outfits. He wears
changes outfits in the club, like in mid scene. He changes outfits. I do not like that. I do not like that.
I wish it should have just been kept to the 2, to the main one that he wears throughout the entire episode, which I'm really sold on. I kind of prefer that one to be his main outfit, and then the black leather jacket with the kilt. It should just be those 2.
I mostly hate every outfit the Doctor wore. I didn't mention that because it doesn't seem important. But to be honest, none of it gives me the fish out of water bits that I love with the Doctor. I had problems with the 9th Doctor outfit for similar reasons. It felt a little too generic, and Ncuti's outfits, like changing clothes to fit the scene, is not what the Doctor does. The Doctor stands out. The Doctor awkwardly stands out in a lot of ways, and I enjoy that. So I feel like this Doctor is too fashionable for what I want, for the nerdy bit of like fish out of water Doctor that I prefer. But it's a personal taste thing, which is why I didn't bring it up before.
I do have to say, I don't think a tank top and kilt is a typical outfit for anyone.
I think in a club scene, you could pull that off, like at a dance club, sure.
Yeah, Scottish club, yeah. Yeah, you could pull that off. It's just, I don't like that. So we have his brown and orange one with
garbage outfit
with the Stetson.
Horrible.
Only there for like 20 seconds. We have his club outfit. We have his main outfit that he wears, and then at the end of the episode, he wears that with a different shirt.
Yeah,
I felt that was so pointless to him to change his shirt.
We're not really going to know how well he can pull all this off until he can pull off some decorative celery.
Yeah.
What vegetable will he adorn himself?
What vegetable will he wear?
Now, it's an interesting thing, because the 5th Doctor, I loved the 5th Doctor outfit when Baker first regenerated into Davison. I was around 10 or 11 years old, but I didn't know it was a cricket outfit. I didn't understand that. I had no concept of cricket. So it was just this interestingly tan outfit to me. So it worked. Now I look and go, well, it's kind of like somebody showing up in a Major League Baseball outfit and having adventures. It's like, that's a little weird. But at the time I didn't know, so I liked it.
Yeah, but there was that episode he actually got to play cricket, so it worked out.
There wasn't that Black Orchid? Or...
Yeah.
It
was Black Orchid,
Yeah, but I mean, like, how else is he going to figure out if there's, gases in the Praxis spectrum, which he's allergic to?
Right, and
he's not allergic to it anymore. It was just
the 5th Doctor was the only one.
Yeah.
I have to get going, actually, y'all. So I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna end
All right.
this.
Good call.
This was fun. What's our something going on next week? Soon after that, anytime?
We have
Who
no
knows?
idea. Who knows?
May, I don't know. Something
Yeah.
sooner. Keep me
New year,
posted.
new who?
There will be more sooner.
There'll be something. There'll be news. I'll talk to you all soon then. Let's go with that.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you, Landry.
See y'all.
Good talking.
But that is pretty much it. We've had a good conversation, and we obviously there are some issues in it, but we enjoyed the episode.
Well, that's all right then.
There we go.
That's true.
I was waiting. I was
Sure.
waiting for a moment. Go ahead and
Waiting for a moment to use that.
Good.
yeah.
Good.
But yeah, no. We want to thank you all for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Leave comments down below about how you felt about the episode. Maybe if there's plenty of comments, we'll bring them up next week. There won't be any comments. We can hope.
It'll just be me.
It'll
I'll
just be Chris. But thanks so much for watching. We will see you next week for more Madmen with the Box. Good night.
comment. Bye-bye.
ALLONS-Y.